My people, what's going on? This is the Sports Counterpoints podcast. Today is March 13th, 2025. I'm GB, Brian and Coop with me as always. Man, we back at it. What's going on, my guys?
Huh?
We got football. I'm happy.
Yeah, man. I mean, we gotta, I guess, enjoy it while we got it because it goes crazy with the free agency signings early on, and then it slows up, and then you get draft and combine. So we got a lot to talk about now, though. So let's get to it, man. We talking free agency, NFL. We're all crazy NFL fans, so it's pretty awesome to have some football to talk about. So let's dive straight in, man. Coop, you kind of get a laid out a good game plan for the show today. Free agency topics.
I think we should just start with our teams. I think let's start with the Minnesota Vikings, man. I see they're handing out monopoly money over there, man. They just passing out contracts. So I want to know how Brian felt. You know, me and Glenn, me and you will jump in if we have to, but I want to know how Brian felt about all the signings the Vikings made.
Well, look, so we talked about this during the season, that one of the nice things about their weird season is that they had a ton of free agency money coming up. And so, you know, obviously they've been able to spend it. The most impressive part is that I don't hate every one of their moves and their decisions. A lot of times when teams have money, they give it away like it's monopoly money, and they don't ultimately fill holes or shore up defenses or do any of those types of things. But the Vikings have paid a lot of attention to the offensive line. They've already said that they're going to either cut or get rid of Garrett Bradbury, who's been their center for a long time, but has been undersized at 300 pounds. I don't know how you can be undersized at 300 pounds, but he's been a little bit problematic for him on the bull rush. So they've shored up the offensive line. Their defensive line has become exceptional. It was already very good, but it's become exceptional. One of the biggest additions is a guy that you used to know, Jason, and Hargrave.
Yeah.
You know, and that's a pretty nice addition to the team.
Yeah, I knew him as injured though. You know him as healthy. So go ahead.
Yeah, gotta stay there. That's the thing.
Yeah, but and then they so far they have made smart moves in the secondary. They re-signed Theo, or agreed to terms with Theo Jackson. They agreed to terms with Byron Murphy. They've agreed to restructure Harrison Smith to bring him back. And these are all still pretty viable players. I don't know much about Bubba Bolden, but he got signed in the secondary as a center. And they still got other opportunities. They signed Isaiah Rodgers too and Travier Thomas, but they got other opportunities to make other moves. I don't believe it for a minute, but there's already been talk that they could end up with the DB from the Jets. I'm not buying that. On the not so wonderful side right now, the only quarterback we have is someone who was injured all last season, rookie. But we'll see how that goes. I thought McCarthy looked pretty good in the preseason of last year.
Yeah, he looks out.
Yeah, but I don't know that if you want to put a Super Bowl contending team out there with essentially a rookie quarterback, that doesn't always work out so well. There's also been talk of the player I want the least to be on my team, Aaron Rodgers. I am rooting against that. I've never wanted the Pittsburgh Steelers to have a bad player on their team because I really, really like the coach until now, because they're the other team that there seems to be strongly considering Aaron Rodgers. And man, do I hope they sign him. Sam Darnold went off to Seattle. I don't know what to make of that. I don't know if I'm disappointed.
Yeah. We'll talk about that in a bit too.
Yeah.
He played really well for us. He didn't play so well in the playoffs, but I also think that there were a lot of different factors. It was not an all Sam Darnold type of situation, and I thought that maybe next year with another great defensive performance, hopefully, and a shored up offensive line. Oh, I forgot to mention the Aaron Jones re-signing is significant. They got him 2 years in a reasonable deal. He played exceptionally well for us last year. Having him back is a nice boost. But anyways, and like I said, they still got money to spend. They're not broke, but JJ McCarthy and Brett Ripien are the only two people they have on the roster now at quarterback. They're even if it's not Aaron Rodgers, please don't let it be. They got to go find a veteran to put in there to either compete with McCarthy and or start the season for McCarthy. We'll see what's left on the market. We'll talk about some of the other quarterbacks, I'm sure, in a minute. But anyways, I am not unhappy about what the Vikings have done so far in free agency. I think they've been smart about it.
Yeah, I mean, look, free agency is when teams pretty much overspend for other players and other teams that they came from don't want. But I don't hate any of the Vikings. I don't have a bad opinion about the Vikings moves, especially on the defensive end. I still think they made the right decision of letting Darnold go. I wouldn't overpay for him, and I think Kevin O'Connell knew that he wasn't going to pay for Sam Darnold. I'm interested in watching the Vikings next year because I don't think there were enough throws that J.J. McCarthy made in college to evaluate him as a passer because he handed the ball off a lot. And I know McConnell likes to pass a lot. So I would love to see J.J. McCarthy with this offense next year. That's pretty much it. I really don't have an opinion on the Vikings moves, but I don't hate them.
The Vikings still have $46 million in cap space for next year, and that's after signing all those players.
Yeah.
So that's not the worst situation. As a matter of fact, it's 10th best right now. Number one is New England at $94 million left with 71 players, and I don't think they're going to do much more than that. But Minnesota's 10th right now, having 63 players signed and $46 million left on cap. I'll take that.
Yeah,
for sure.
And speaking of that, let's go to the Raiders. GB, how you feel? We made a couple of trends. We got Max Crosby. You got him re-signed, and then you got Geno Smith as quarterback. How do you feel about those? Man, I know Max Crosby. How you feel about Geno?
Yeah, so I think Max was the biggest deal, right? And I was saying that before. Like, you don't let Max go anywhere. He wasn't going anywhere. He had a couple years on the deal, but no guaranteed money. They make sure he's short up through the next 5 years or so, which is good. We lost some key players. I think Nate Hobbs was an up and coming corner who played well for us. Trayvon Merrick at the safety goes to Carolina. He was balling, and then Robert Spillane was also a heart of the defense. So losing him to New England hurts, but I think they did good. I mean, re-signing Adam Butler on the line is key. Malcolm Kuntz had an injury, lost a year to injury, but was looking really good before. So we'll see how that goes. He's on a 1-year prove-it deal. Re-sign Isaiah Polamau, who's safety. That's Troy Polamalu's nephew. I think he's their nephew or cousin. And then re-signing Max is huge. Get rid of Gardner Minshew gets released. He immediately goes to the Chiefs, which is interesting. And then our center Andre James gone, but I think we'll see the rookie JPJ Jackson Powers Johnson slide into the center, so that's cool. Pick up another guard and Alex Kappa from the Bengals. Jeremy Chin, a safety from Washington, comes over. Get Lonnie Johnson, a DB from Carolina. Raheem Mostert coming over is interesting to me. He had some pretty good games for Miami. Injuries are going to be a concern right at running back, and he's had some injuries that he's lost. But I think now, hasn't he played on all our teams?
Yeah, Mostert. Yeah. Well, he didn't play with the Vikings, I don't think. He didn't play for the Vikings.
Who'd y'all have that? I thought y'all signed one of the. Oh, it was McKinnon. Excuse me.
Yeah, Jerick McKinnon.
That was a while back. Yep.
Yeah.
Ellington Roberts from Pittsburgh, and then Eric Stokes from Green Bay. So what I see in this is I see them going after key positions, right? Because our defense are going to have to shore up because we're losing guys, and they did it without spending $1 billion for veteran guys in these scenarios. And I look at these guys, all these dudes have been in the league a long time. I don't know that are you getting Deion Sanders out here and crazy value like that? I don't know, but I think these dudes will add well to the team. Hardworking dudes, and they're not overpaying, which still keeps us a lot of cap space. Getting Geno, I think is honestly a great move. I was saying this. I could have swore I was saying this on the show before. Everybody was saying Darnold and all these other guys, and I was like, look for Geno. I thought they might do a Geno and Metcalf situation. Try to. I'm glad they didn't for how much they wanted for Metcalf. I understand why they didn't. Giving him
they didn't like each other.
Yeah, and plus, he ain't playing with Geno, no way.
Get it? Completely makes sense. I was just thinking in terms of, you get a number one, you get guys that play together, but fair enough. I think Geno's a solid QB. He's been clowned in the past before. I've clowned before even, you know what I mean?
I'm always clowning.
I ain't gonna front, but I think at this stage of his career for where we are too, I think it's a great match with the coach that he knows, with the QB's coach he knows, and Olsen. I think, you got Brock Bowers, you got Jacoby. We still have the draft, and I wouldn't be surprised if we'd sign another wide receiver as well. So I think that adds some consistency to the quarterback position, which is key. We needed that. And then I'm not under the impression that they don't still draft a quarterback. I don't think it's going to be at 6, but I think it's, there's a second or third round quarterback that comes in too. Could have a very similar Russell Wilson situation when he signed with Seattle. Somebody to push Geno. Geno already knows the deal. If he doesn't win the job, I think he's a good mentor, but I also think he's solid enough to win that job and play well for us. So I'm solid right now. I gotta remain cautiously optimistic. I'm actually pretty excited, but cautiously optimistic got to be the way as a Raiders fan, because I've seen, things go bad quickly. So I'm still a little shell shocked.
Yeah, Max Crosby's no surprise. I said when Pete Carroll got the job that he was going to love this guy. He was going to love him, and he had no more guaranteed money on his deal. So that changed, of course. Geno Smith, look, Glenn, for the record, I never thought you were getting Russell Wilson because the last 2.5 seasons he played for Pete Carroll in Seattle, they didn't get along too great.
We both said that. Yep.
But having said that, Geno Smith was a good move for two reasons. You can do a whole lot better than Geno Smith, but you can do a whole lot worse. And plus the money is right. His salary is only for the upcoming season is the only salary that's guaranteed. He's not guaranteed after this season. So that's a good move. That's a win-win.
They're gonna give him a deal. I think we're in the 40 to 45 range, but yeah, for at least a few years.
He's at 31 right now.
Right, but right now his first season is only guaranteed. That's it.
And that hit Seattle's cap. Go ahead.
Yeah. And then second of all, my last point is, before I let you go, Brian, there are really no expectations for the Raiders. The bar is really low. And that's an environment that Geno can operate in when the bar is low. As soon as you start having expectations like you want to win the division or go to the playoffs, then Geno ain't going to be the guy. So right now, for the situation the Raiders are in, Geno's the perfect guy, is a good guy for you to have in this situation.
Didn't he beat y'all to go to the playoffs last year with expectations?
No, he didn't go to the playoffs. He ain't been to the playoffs since he signed that contract with Seattle. He went to the playoffs last year?
They didn't make it at the end?
No,
I thought they was close. Got you.
Yeah, he didn't make the playoffs. Nope. Go ahead, B. You got any thoughts on the Raiders?
No, I think it was a smart play. What did they say? If you want to win, put Geno in. I mean, the dude,
like that.
the dude has a little bit of moxie, like Jason said. Though you can do a lot. You can do better, but you can also do a lot worse. He's, the NFC is pretty weak at quarterback. So I say that with a full understanding that the NFC is pretty weak at quarterback.
Yeah.
But why wouldn't he be a top 5 to 7 quarterback in the NFC? Like, there's just not a lot of great quarterbacks.
No, he's in the AFC now.
Well, I know what Brian's saying. Coming from the NFC. Yeah.
He's coming from the NFC.
Yeah. Well, he had 21 and 15 last year, but yeah.
There's a lot of quarterbacks that are lower than him on most people's lists.
Yeah, true.
But anyways, I think that those are strong moves, and we'll see what the Raiders can do with it. But at least making an effort in the right direction.
Correct. Yeah, I agree with that too. And then we'll go to my team. Go to the 49ers. People
on the other side of that coin.
Right. Like, what the hell are you guys doing? So, look, the 49ers spent $334 million last season. So they're doing what they're supposed to do. This isn't a bring the band back together type of season. It's break up the band and get rid of these older injured players and then get younger. That's what I was saying when our season ended. It's time to get younger and get rid of guys. We had 2 Super Bowl appearances and nothing to show for us. There's no need to re-sign and acquire a bunch of players over 30. That's not the position that we're in. Now, don't get me wrong. I did like Dre Greenlaw, but he only played 24 snaps last year. I like Tafunga, but after year 2, he ain't been the same. He got injured. So, and I know, Glenn, I always say that, 49ers need offensive linemen. We let one go. But what I meant by that is I want offensive linemen that didn't play for us, not the ones that we have. So we got 2 good ones right now. We got Trent Williams and we got Pooney. Dominic, I can't pronounce the last name. We call him Pooney. We got 2 good ones, but Trent Williams is hella old. So, I'm not mad that the Packers paid Jalen Moore all that money. I mean, we weren't going to sign up for that kind of money, especially since he's ranked number 32 in pass blocking for guards. I mean, he was horrible, so he can go. But the 49ers, I think what people don't know about the 49ers is they're shifting their offense to be Brock Purdy centric, which they should. I mean, they're going to pay him. He's technically under contract for $5 million this year, but they're going to pay him. So they need to move off of the offense that they've been running for the past few years and be more Brock Purdy centric. So I'm looking forward to see how that goes. The only acquisition of note that I actually like is Luke Farrell. He's a blocking tight end from the Jacksonville Jaguars. And the reason why I like the signing is because, number one, he could play fullback too. He can block because we let Juice go at fullback. He's been with the 49ers for 9 years. And also, I've always said this, we got to preserve George Kittle for as long as we can. We can't have him, blocking all the time because our offensive line is weak. We need to get somebody who can do that so he can be more of a receiver like Kelsey. And so I think this guy might be able to do it. We'll see. But as far as that, I'm not mad at shedding salary and probably take another stab at it next year. We're bringing in guys. I'm okay with it. I don't know what you guys' feelings on what the 49ers are doing.
B?
I think I can summarize it up just real quickly. Have my feelings on it. So far, the San Francisco is winning when it comes to signing players. They have 75 players signed with a 53 final roster, right? So they're number one in that regard, beating a whole bunch of other teams at some of the 70s, 60s, so on and so forth. They have $44 million in cap space. Great. That's a good place to be when you have that many people signed, obviously. They are still the third oldest team in the NFL at 27.4 years on average.
Really? Wow.
And so all of that youth movement isn't youthful enough, at least not yet. Now they also have Trent Williams who can throw off any curve at 37, but there's still a lot of other folks that are on the plus side of 30 to get you to be the third oldest team. They're 27.4. The number 2 is Atlanta at 27.5. And I'm sure when Cousins gets kicked out, then that'll go down a little bit. And then Washington's and then Washington's the oldest at 28.1.
Well, they got Bobby Wagner too, because he's hella old. Lattimore and them, okay.
But look, like you said, this is definitely not to bring the band back together. They had their shot last year.
Yep.
They
a
didn't
couple
work
years
out.
ago. Yeah.
No,
with the band last year with the band. Yeah, you're right.
Yeah.
They got the opportunity to bring it back last year because of what they did the year before.
Yeah.
It didn't work. It wasn't going to work this next year either.
Correct.
And for the silliness that they want to believe that Brock Purdy can do anything, they might as well try and build around him.
Yeah, we knew that was coming.
Oh yeah, I was waiting. I thought it was going to come.
It ain't gonna work, but
he
if
gave you the
that's what
face.
they believe they should do,
it's all
then
good.
that's what they should do, right?
Well, okay, all right. Well, speaking what's not gonna work. Let's move on. Let's move on to these other free agent acquisitions. Let's start with Justin Fields to the Jets. I laughed when I saw this.
That's not your move of the year, Justin.
So let me ask you this though: is Justin Fields is in SAT terms? Jason is to Justin Fields what GB is to Justin Herbert?
But I've been on Justin Fields' helmet since college, though.
Okay, so I ain't caught up.
Yeah.
All right, I ain't caught up. Okay, fair. Go ahead. All right, go ahead.
Yeah. No. That's just the quick hitters, real quick. Just what you both think, and I'll jump in after. Is Brian Justin Fields to the Jets? I mean, how you like that move?
Here's the problem: we'll never know if Justin Fields is any good because he goes on teams that are expected to be bad. No.
I mean, true.
Oh, true, my ass.
But still.
But go ahead, Brian. Go ahead. Finish.
You had sold that team down the river last year,
with
and they did all right.
He got benched. But go ahead.
Yeah, but he did all right. It wasn't they went with Wilson when Wilson got healthy. He was always supposed to be that way. I guarantee you, independent of who the quarterback is, you were not going to like the Jets next year. They were not going to be a team that you were going to pick to win. They were with Aaron Rodgers. If you didn't think they were going to win, you damn sure ain't going to think that they're going to win now with Justin Fields. So they're not. They're never. He's going to. It's irrelevant. It's a team that he's on. He can run. He'll throw the ball. He'll
run. But go ahead.
He'll run. Yeah.
He'll run. But go ahead.
I see what you're saying, B. I get the concept. I'm just.
I don't.
Yeah,
it's
I
irrelevant.
don't think I don't think it matters.
He's not a difference maker one way or the other. He's not going to make that team worse or better.
I think anywhere. But go ahead, Coop.
Yes.
Okay. All right. So look, I want to see Aaron Glenn be successful with the Jets. I really did.
Yeah, agree.
But this is a 2-year contract, so he's not going to be good for 2 years. Now, look, Fields has a following of people that continues to make excuses as if the team he's on is the reason why he can't throw an out route. Whatever. He's in year 5 and on his 3rd team. If people can't realize this dude has the same scouting report as college, and when he was in college, he's athletic and can run. You never hear about any of his passing ability. Doesn't matter what team he plays on, he's going to suck. And I feel bad for Aaron Glenn, man, but I think maybe he had no choice but to get this guy. And the owner, I heard, likes Madden ratings, and I heard somebody told me that Justin Fields' Madden rating is 72. So So this dude ain't even good on the video game, but whatever. We'll see.
Isn't the deal not crazy though? It's not crazy expensive either.
No, it's
like
no,
super
It's
conservative.
$20 million a year, right?
His cap hit for next year is $8 million.
Yeah, I think
that's not
it's
bad.
20 guaranteed. I think for like the 3 years. So it's
Ooh,
not
20 guaranteed. That's 15 million too much. But go ahead.
Okay.
Yeah, they still have Aaron Rodgers with a 23.5 cap hit next year, whether he plays there or not.
He's not.
Fields at 8. They got Tyrod Taylor at 6.8.
Tyrod Taylor. That's a name you don't hear. Okay.
Again, it's just that he's irrelevant. There's not a quarterback, a free agent who was available that you would put on the Jets and say the Jets are going to win.
Yeah, well, they don't have a chance though.
Yeah, I'll give you that. I think I mean, just watching him play, like I watched him play against us and we lost that game. So I ain't gonna act like, oh, whatever, but we lost. But he just bro was skipping 10-yard passes. Everything first down was him running. And I was just like, this guy is not it. And he got benched, which, and God bless the man. I hope everybody gets his money. Hey, it'd be if he goes crazy and he's come back, well, he can't be come back because he wasn't injured. But say he has Sam Darnold's year last year, I'll be wholly surprised. And hey, congrats to you. But I think I get what you're saying, B, is it kind of didn't matter who was there, but I don't think Fields helps you none.
It's year 5 and he's on his third team.
Pick
That's all you
one
need to know.
quarterback that they could assign that's any free agent. You got Darnold who went over there. You got Gino who went there.
I might have taken Russ, bro.
Doesn't matter. He's in year 5 on his third team.
Russ wouldn't have been able to do it either.
Okay. All right.
Yeah.
We'll see. All right. Let's move real quick. Let's go.
I hope Russ ends. Ideally, I think Russ would be a great veteran presence on my team.
Okay. All right. Let's move on. I don't.
Justin Fields' old team, the Bears.
Yeah. I don't. Yeah. It goes. I don't have. I have a collective opinion about the Bears, you guys, and that is, it just seems like Ben Johnson is trying to recreate a strong offensive line like he had in Detroit. That's
smart.
all I see, which is a smart move. Now, I don't know if it's going to work, but I get the effort, and that's really pretty much my only take on the Bears acquisitions. What about you guys?
B?
I like what he's doing. I like that he has a vision for what he wants to do, and he is executing on it as quickly as possible.
And they're working with him,
Yeah.
Yep.
I will never wish the Bears to have good luck.
Right.
That's just not in me.
No doubt.
But at the same time, from a distance, I can appreciate a young coach or a relatively new coach making a decision. This is what I want my team's image to be. This is what I'm going to do to make that happen. It's the same thing that they were able to do in Detroit with Dan Campbell. And now they're trying to execute on it. More power to him. We'll see what happens next.
I kind of felt the same. I think it's
I still don't think that the quarterback is going to take that next step up until he decides or until he understands who he is and what he needs to do to develop. You can't get better. And he still thinks he's great.
Give him an O-line, get a D-line. Like you said, try and build what you had before as quickly as you can.
Yeah. And then I just found out, I didn't know this, guys. I put this on there. I didn't know Daniel Jones got picked up by the Colts, and he's getting $14 million this season, and he sucks. If Anthony Richardson can't beat out Daniel Jones, I don't think his career is over, because there's always a sucker out there for athleticism like Justin Fields, but it'll definitely be a lot closer to the end if he can't beat out Daniel Jones for the starting positions. And last season, this guy, Anthony Richardson, he 47.7% completion percentage. That's called Tim Tebow range. That was last in NFL. The dude can't throw, and if he can't beat out Daniel Jones, man, that's bad. But any thoughts on Daniel Jones?
No, never. We didn't. We also didn't mention that. I mean, everybody can't sign Mac Jones, bro.
Man, be quiet. Keep going. Brian, you got anything you want to say about Daniel Jones?
No.
Okay. All right. Moving on. That's what I'm talking about. Okay. The next one.
A nice brief.
Right. There you go. Brian, why don't you start this one? Washington's acquisitions. I'm going to talk about them collectively. I don't know if you want to talk about them individually or not, but what do you think about Washington?
First, because I'm not as familiar. I was looking through it, and I have a feel for it, but not the same feel that you'll have.
Okay. So Washington, okay, they got Deebo Samuel, which is an upgrade, I guess, from their number 2 receiver. Because we don't know who their number 2 receiver was last year. They let go Jonathan Allen. I think he went to, I forgot. Thought he went to the Vikings, maybe. Jonathan Allen or so. He went somewhere. And they
Vikings.
got Javon.
Yep. Went to the
Vikings, which is a good upgrade for the Vikings. They picked up Javon Kinlaw, which is a huge downgrade. He used to be with the 49ers and really not that good. Look, Laramie Tunsil, they got him as an offensive lineman from the Texans, which is an upgrade whoever they had at that position if Tunsil was motivated to play. I knew Marcus Mariota was in the NFL, but didn't know where. And then I found out he was re-signed by Washington. So I guess
Yeah,
he
he
was
was
with
there. Yep,
Washington last year.
he was.
Yeah. But other than that, I don't have an opinion. They re-signed Bobby Wagner. Lattimore's a year older. I mean, I don't really have an opinion about Washington except they're just trying to get players that'll help them win now. And I don't think it'll help. I don't think that gets them closer to a Super Bowl. I don't expect them to be guaranteed to be in the NFC title game next year. But I see what they're doing while Jaden Downs is there. They're trying to give him some help. But I don't really think this makes the team that much better. Don't know what you guys think.
You said it good for me.
I would say
That's
the
fine.
Debo trade was the big one,
Mm.
and getting rid of Jonathan Allen was also a big deal. The only part that I got to read about any of that was the Jonathan Allen portion of it, because he signed a 3-year, $60 million deal, which is $5 million more on the year than he would have made from Washington, and so some were wondering why they sign him for that much money over that much time.
Yeah,
we'll see.
All right. Yep. Next, let's go to the Bills. They re-signed Josh Allen, no brainer. I don't know if you got much to say about that, but Joey Bosa going to the Bills.
Holy moly, that's a lot of money.
That's a lot of money. Yeah. But Joey Bosa, Brian, what you feel? How you feel about the Bills? What they did?
It makes sense when you think about what the Bills have done and how they've built that defensive line. They have been consistent about taking shots on someone who's on the second half of their career, let's say. Bosa's been very, very good, but the Bills have consistently wanted to take that guy who's there.
Von Miller. It's the Von Miller move again.
And Von Miller just moved on, and then they bring in Joey Bosa, and they've had success in doing that. Some success.
Guys always get hurt for them. But
people get hurt, but they've ultimately decided that they want to spend all of their money on the offensive side and on quarterback. So they have to be creative, and Joey Bosa's, I still think, a viable player. So if that's the case, then that's a pretty good decision on their part.
Yeah, the Bills let Von Miller go, and I get it. He's old, he's injured a lot, and expensive. So I saw that happening. Joey Bosa, at this point in his career, Brian, I really think he's more of a rotational piece. I don't think he's a full-time starter or a missing piece to a Super Bowl contender, but I do get the move. It's very, as you say, I would say Bills-esque. It's a Bills type of move to get Joey Bosa. So I don't think this gets him any close to a Super Bowl. I still think they're a good team. But I just looked at Joey Bosa going to the Bills like, oh, that's a Bills move right there. But that's it. Nothing much. Glenn, any thoughts?
The only thing I just wanted to say one thing about the Josh Allen signing. It's crazy to me that that number, it's $330 million, which is just massive. He's 6th on cap hits for quarterbacks next year.
Oh,
Dak 1, Stafford 2, Burrow 3, Jackson 4, Murray 5. He's not even a top 5. Josh Allen 6.
Well, I bet you about a third year he'll be in that top 5. Bet you. Usually the first couple of years the cap hits low, and then after that it kind of balloons. But yeah, that's a good point.
He said that he was, he didn't want to break the bank, but we'll get to that later. But
yeah,
I also think cool to see Damar Hamlin got another year contract, which is dope because man, that was scary watching what happened to him. So it's cool to see him still out there. And then they also got Josh Palmer from the Chargers, wide receiver, which I mean, not like a superstar, but they need the wide receiver help, I think. And then they signed Josh Dobbs too. So cool little backup.
All good. Now
not until 2029. That's when he'll be the top guy.
So you had Myles Garrett on here.
I was gonna go to Sam Darnold, but let's talk about Myles Garrett.
Yeah,
I'll be quick with Myles Garrett. I think what the Browns did was absolutely stupid. It reminded me of when the Raiders signed Nnamdi Asomugha to all that money, and it was a 4-win team. I don't understand what's the point. And this also makes me questions. Myles Garrett's a great player. I had him as MVP midseason, I think last year, or year before during our podcast. But it makes me question makes me question his motivation. He claimed he wanted out, and then the Browns hawked the franchise to pay him, and then he accepts the money, which is a lot of money. I get it, but the Browns don't have an offense. I mean, they just got Kenny Pickett as their quarterback, which I don't know why you want to do something like that, but. So they technically still don't have a quarterback with Kenny Pickett playing that position. Deshaun Watson is never playing for him again. They have no running backs. Nick Chubb is a free agent, and they have no wide receiver. So I don't get what the Browns are doing to try to, to sign Garrett to all that money. But I mean, whatever, more power to Garrett. Good for him getting that contract. But I don't really have any more thoughts about it. Brian, Glenn, y'all got anything to say about it?
Hey man, it was, I want to give me a winning team or trade me. How about we give you money?
You're right.
All right.
That part.
For
That
sure.
part.
For sure. Yeah,
That
yeah.
part.
That
Yeah.
works
Yeah.
too. And I ain't mad at it.
Yeah. Real talk. B, anything?
No, I'm kind of in the same place.
Okay.
But you get another guy who, for all of that money, he's nowhere near the top on cap hit at any point in time during that contract.
Okay.
That's
All
big.
right.
I
Let's
know.
go
He's,
Sam
in the
Darnold.
top, he's in the top 20. That's
Okay.
where he lands.
All right. Let's go
Yeah, go ahead.
Sam Darnold. Sam Darnold to the Seahawks. Brian, you start this one off. How you feel about that move?
He had to go somewhere.
Yeah.
And he kind of fits for what the Seahawks have tried to do, which is kind of not a superstar quarterback. Russell Wilson wasn't in that mold. Geno Smith hasn't been in that mold. Good and solid. Ultimately, I like what Darnold did for our team last year, but I think Geno Smith is a better quarterback, and I think that they went down a step from Geno to Sam Darnold. But that being said, congratulations to him. He's gone through a lot over his career. The bucket of cash certainly will make some of that old vinegar that he has from the previous stops turn into wine.
Yeah, I mean, look, the Seahawks are suckers for moves like this. They did it with Geno Smith when he had that outlier season. They re-signed him and they never made the playoffs again, nor did he have a season even come close to that. It's going to be the same with Sam Darnold. He's not going to replicate what he did with the Vikings. He won't even come close. They won't make the playoffs as long as he's a starter. I saw a stat, interesting. I didn't know this about the Vikings. So 29% of Sam Darnold's incompletions last year were due to being pressured. That was the 5th highest rate in the NFL, and the Vikings had the number 2 ranked pass blocking offensive line win rate last year, which is very good. I did not know that. Seattle, conversely, last year, their offensive line was 3rd to last in pressure rate. So he's going to get pressured a lot more with the Seahawks, which doesn't look good. He's going to see ghosts again. He's going to see ghosts. Glenn, anything about this acquisition for the Seahawks?
Nah, I mean, my biggest thing is I'm glad we got Geno and not Darnold.
Yeah, I agree with you and Brian on that. It's an upgrade getting Geno. DK to the Steelers. Brian, what you think?
Who's throwing him the ball? I mean, what difference does it make until you figure out who's throwing him the ball? So if you believe the speculation that it's going to be Aaron Rodgers,
which I do,
fine. I can see how that might work. But DK isn't a Pittsburgh wide receiver, and Rodgers is not a Pittsburgh quarterback.
Not at all.
So I feel like some of these naysayers have gotten Coach Tomlin to believe he's got to do something that he hasn't done in the past, either to keep his job or to feel comfortable with his job. And this is that. I don't think it works. And when it all goes sideways, Tomlin will be the one who gets blamed.
Yeah.
But so DK is outstanding, but I just don't think this makes sense. This is not a Pittsburgh play.
Yeah, when I saw this trade happen, I think I texted you guys. I was like, he must be getting a new deal to play with Justin Fields. He ended up getting a new deal, but Fields is gone. He got a $150 million contract, which is a lot. I do think that Aaron Rodgers is gonna. The Steelers are a boring watch, so with Aaron Rodgers on the Steelers, they'll be interesting. Now, do I think it'll work ultimately?
It'll be more interesting for podcasts than they will be.
Now, do I think it'll work ultimately? I don't know, because Rodgers likes those route runners, and DK Metcalf and George Pickens aren't route runners. They're like big play downfield receivers, and Aaron doesn't throw like that downfield. So, and plus, when Aaron doesn't get his way, he's moody and everything. I want to see how Mike Tomlin handles that, because and Mike Tomlin don't play that. And Aaron wants you to play that. So it'll be interesting if he was on the team. But other than that, that's all I have to say about the DK and the Steelers. What about you, GB?
I don't know. I feel a little bit different just because of who Tomlin is. I think if there's anyone who's had a malcontent wide receiver and was able to make it work, it was Mike Tomlin.
He ships them though.
But this not the quarterback position. No. This is your if he gets Rodgers, Glenn, he has no other quarterback to go to.
But it hasn't happened yet. So we're gonna see what happens. I think Tomlin is one of them guys that you gotta respect and could you ain't gonna walk over Mike Tomlin. So
he can also kick your ass too. But go ahead.
For sure. So if there's someone that's gonna corral those personalities, it could work. The funniest thing for me in this whole thing, DK get his bread, that's dope. The funniest thing for me is the memes about him and George Pickens. Running back scores an easy touchdown, 2 flags on the field, and the meme is Pickens and the meme is like WWF getting people getting beat up, and it's like DK and George Pickens in the backfield. So I think it's going to be interesting. I got to talk to some of my guys that are Steelers fans to see what they think, but I mean, it's yet to be seen, right? Like all these moves.
We'll see. GB, start with we'll move quickly to Davante going to the Rams. How you feel about
one
that?
thing.
Oh, go ahead. Go ahead.
I don't think that Aaron Rodgers ends up in Pittsburgh.
Really? Where you think? Well, we'll talk about. I'll ask you a question later. Where you think he ends up?
But I'll tell you who I do think is going to get into Pittsburgh, who's not on our list anywhere, and that's Kirk Cousins.
Wow.
Oh,
okay.
All right. I can see that.
All right. So yeah, we'll go to how you feel about Davante going to the Rams?
I think it makes sense, right? When they said he was going to LA, I thought it was the Chargers at first, but it's your division, not mine. I think Davante, obviously still could play. I don't think it's the Davante Rodgers connection to some years ago, but I think he's still a viable wide receiver for damn sure. He's up there, you know what I mean? He's upper half for sure, if not still top 10. I think if you're going to lose Cooper Kupp and get Davante, I think Kupp when healthy is damn near untouchable, but he hasn't been able to stay on the field, which I understand because it's a rough game. So I think it's a smart move for them. It's not a $1 billion. It's a lot, but it's still getting Davante. You pair him with Justin Herbert, who's your favorite QB.
Not Justin Herbert. He plays with Matt Stafford.
Oh, damn. I keep thinking of Chargers.
Look
Matt
at
Stafford.
you, just want to clown already.
I do. But he's not you're absolutely right. When I said LA, I got it mixed up because they used to be in San Diego, which they still should be. But anyway, you're absolutely right. Matt Stafford's a baller. Can't even front on him, even though he's a little bit older. He's always been solid. So him and Stafford could easily develop some kind of connection, and it could be solid. So I think it's a good move for him. He's back on the West Coast. He's near his family. He's not too far from Vegas. If he wanted to keep the Vegas house and have his family there, I think it works well.
Yeah, I mean, look, McVay gave up on Cooper Kupp, so to me, he's damaged goods. I wouldn't want Cooper Kupp on my team, or else McVay would have kept him. And based on his injury history, this is an upgrade getting Davante Adams. And I still think the price is kind of steep, but with Adams playing with Puka Nacua, as long as Stafford is healthy, that's going to be a team that not going to be a easy out. So I think it's a good move for Davante, and he kind of cashed in. I really think the Rams probably paid him the most out of all the teams he probably was talking to, because I know the 49ers wouldn't pay him that kind of money. He's over 30, like 32. B, what you think about this move by the Rams?
Yeah, I don't think McVay gave up on him. I think this is a simple math equation. Cooper Kupp is 32 years old, costs $30 million. Davante Adams, 33 years old, costs $14 million. Like, it's literally half the price to get a player who's 1 year old, only 1 year older, and has had a similar point.
Yeah.
Cooper Kupp will go, and he will do well if he can stay healthy. And they get a player at half the price. They also have almost no cap space. I think they're 30th out of 32 teams with only $5 million left. So that 30 or whatever they can get out of on the cap hit, the dead cap next year, whether they get all of it at 30, which I doubt, or they get half of it at 15, which is more likely. That 15 plus the 5 is, they're literally going up 300% on their cap space by making the Cooper Kupp move. And as I've said before, there is no team who plays the cap better than the Rams.
Yeah.
What they've been able to do over the course since they won the Super Bowl and kept on blowing it up, then brought it back down and became contenders almost immediately after. Yeah. And the real thing here is Puka Nacua is still cheap. I mean, he's what, $1 million player? His cap hit for next year is $1 million. So if you're spending 15 on the other side and $1 million for the best wide receiver on your team, you have a little bit of things to play with on other parts, other parts of the team. So, anyways, I think it was a really smart move. I am a little bummed for Cooper Kupp, but I have a lot of confidence that if he ends up on a team that's a contender, he could be absolutely the difference on offense.
Okay, and this last one, I just put this on here because it's the New England Patriots. They have paid $283.6 million to players on their team in free agency contracts, mainly on defense.
They're number one.
And Drake May doesn't have an offensive line or wide receivers. So I guess that's what the draft is for. I just want to know if you guys had any comment on this. That's a lot of damn money Mike Vrabel spending on defense.
They still have the most cap space of any team in football with 71 contracts. They got $94 million left.
Oh, wow. Okay.
$20 million in Tennessee. So, I agree with you. they're throwing a lot of money around, but that was because they had the absolute most cap space and they had nothing worth keeping. Yeah. And so every play, it sounds like they're doing a lot, but that is because they literally walked into the offensive line and the defensive room and said, "Y'all can just leave."
Yeah.
And so they're going to be. So they're signing a lot because they had nothing left in the cupboard.
They pulled a Deion Sanders at Colorado. Y'all can just go. Y'all can leave. Yeah.
We'll ship your shit to you.
All right. Okay. All right. Real quick. I just have a couple of questions. 3 questions for you guys. Real quick. I know you're a Penix guy, Brian. It's made me think of this. Does Penix start week 1? Quarterback for the Atlanta Falcons.
Yep. Yes.
Okay. Yes. So I don't
unequivocally.
I don't think he does. I don't think Penix starts, and here's the reason why. Kirk Cousins has a no trade clause in his contract. He's due a $10 million roster bonus coming up, and he's making $27.5 million next season. I refuse to believe that any NFL team will have a backup on their bench making $27.5 million. That's the only reason. If he ain't injured, I don't think there's any chance he's the backup. Well,
so
because of his contract. Well, he has no trade clause. So Brian said Pittsburgh, which is cool. So if he goes to Pittsburgh, then he's good. Then Penix, you're right. But as far as right now, I think that Cousins starts if he's on this team, if he's week 1.
Interesting.
Look, it won't take a big draft pick to get Cousins to someplace else. If the minute they tell Cousins that he's going to have to sit, which I think they will do, because Penix I think is going to start, he'll say that's fine. You can find some place to send me. He gets his money either way. So
All right. Second question. Shedeur Sanders' combine interviews. I heard he's coming off arrogant, which of course is no surprise to all of us. I've heard some reports he might drop out of the first round. Brian, do you buy that?
Out of the first round, I think his talent should have him drop out of the first round.
I'm with you.
I just think that there's somebody who's going to reach, because it always happens, and they're going to feel like they're getting a steal by taking a guy who used to be a top 15 pick in the 18, 19 range. Hi, Raiders. But he's not worth it. He is exactly who they're talking to. He is arrogant beyond to a fault. He thinks he's great when he has absolutely no bona fides to justify that. We've been talking about that all season, all football season long. Let it happen how it's going to happen, I guess.
Yeah, look, still holds the hold. I've watched a lot of Shedeur Sanders in college. Doesn't have a strong arm. He doesn't throw in tight windows, which is something you got to do in the NFL. You got to throw in tight windows and hit receivers in stride. He ran a very limited offense at Colorado, and of course he holds the ball too long. But one thing Brian didn't know, he was 112th in air yards last year in college, which means he doesn't throw downfield.
Travis Hunter is good.
Yeah. Oh yeah. So he threw a lot of lateral passes to Travis Hunter and it made him look really, really good. He had a 71% completion percentage, somebody tried to tell me, but I said, Mac Jones, Colt McCoy, and Zach Wilson all had a higher percentage too. So that doesn't mean nothing. But
low air yards equals higher percentage.
Exactly.
I can get that pass.
But I agree with you. I don't think he drops out the first round because there's going to be some owner that convinced that he can sell tickets. So I don't think he drops out the first round.
He's going in the first half, bro. The Titans need a quarterback. The Browns need a quarterback. The Giants need a quarterback. The Raiders, we got Geno, but we could take a quarterback. The Jets need a quarterback. The Saints could take a quarterback. The Niners could take a quarterback and let Purdy. Bro, okay, bro.
Yeah.
I mean, if you want to pay 600 or pay a rookie, that's the only reason.
I'll pay 600.
Only reason they're in the spot there. I mean, well, you know what I mean. 500 million. The only reason they're in this spot now is because that other rookie deal. Let's keep it real. They haven't paid a quarterback this whole Super Bowl run, not once.
You must not know Kyle Shanahan's love for Mac Jones. Well, we'll get in that later. Go ahead.
That's funny. I'm just saying, like, there's a lot of these teams. The Steelers need a quarterback. They're 21. I mean, you're not too far. Like, some of these teams could take it as insurance too, especially as you go down the list. So I don't think he drops. I think he's gonna be first half though with one of those quarterback needy teams.
Okay. And Brian,
I think he's out. I think he's probably out of the first half, though. I will go there.
Okay. All right. So Brian, Glenn, Brian already gave his thoughts on who's going to the Steelers. You think it's Kirk Cousins. He doesn't think Aaron goes there. But Brian, where do you think Aaron goes?
He needs to go home. The reason why I am legitimately scared about him ending up on the Vikings is because I actually do believe that Kirk Cousins makes more sense to the Pittsburgh Steelers.
Yeah, he's not coming
If
back.
they could figure out
Yeah.
how to do that deal, they would do that deal over Rodgers, leaving him out there, meaning that there's more likely ended up on my team, which would make me absolutely sick.
That's
So
funny.
I am not going to put that into the universe, Lakers style, in any way, shape, or form. Aaron Rodgers, I wish you the best.
That's
Go
funny.
get him.
GB, go ahead and tell me, where's the air end up?
I don't know, man, because you start looking at the teams that need quarterbacks to the conversation we just had. I mean, we mentioned the Giants, but they don't really have. They got neighbors.
They got money, but go
and
ahead.
they got money, so you got that. But I mean, and you don't have to leave New York if you liked New York. The Browns need a quarterback, but really no offense. The Titans need a quarterback, but really no offense. Ain't gonna be us. Ain't gonna be the Jets. Ain't gonna be the Saints, I don't think. So I don't know. I honestly don't know, bro. Like just looking at if I had to guess, I mean, I guess you gotta go with I would probably go with like, who they say? They had him to the Steelers? Yeah, why not?
Yeah, I got the Steelers, but after Brian sent that text message saying he wouldn't watch football on Sundays no more, he'll watch golf if Aaron Rodgers played for the Vikings. Oh yeah, but
Bro, that's funny.
I kind of want him to end up on the Vikings, but I'm still gonna say Steelers. I'm gonna say Steelers. So
we'll be awfully lonely on that first. We'll be in the game room. I'll be on the other side of the wall.
Man,
too funny. They play at 10 a.m. Brian to come out for the 1 p.m. games. But
right.
Okay. All right, cool. So hey, y'all want to move on to game ball?
Let's do it, man. Yeah, who you got a game ball for this week?
All right, Brian, who's your game ball?
Yeah, you go first.
Okay. I forgot to give it to this guy last week. I should have gave it to him last week. My game ball goes to Lamont Roach Jr. He fought Davante Davis on March 1st, and it was a good fight. And I agree that it was a draw because to me, you have to clearly defeat the boxing champion to unseat him and take his belt. But he fought a really good fight. I've never seen Davante Davis pushed like that to where he could actually lose the fight. I'm sure they're going to rematch it. I want to see it. He probably could beat Davante Davis. And I think Davis is a really good fighter, but he was getting with him. So I'm giving my game ball out to Lamont Roach Jr. He might need to change that name if he's a champion.
Wasn't he on Sanford and Sons?
Right, exactly. That part. Yeah.
And I know my age. I have no problem with that. Shout out, rest in peace, Red Fox. I'm gonna go to NFL free agency, man. Just in general, they do it best, man. Like the NBA free agency is big. Jimmy went. Oh man, it's crazy. But NFL every day is like, what? He went where? He's gonna do what? And we get excited. Some of these moves end up meaning like very little, like because of how much of a team game it is. But it's just exciting to see, and they cover it well, and it's a big deal. And Adam Schefter and how just breaking news. It's just they do a great job with free agency. So I'll give that to the NFL.
Cool.
All right. Mine, it's actually going to be split. First, to Kwesi Adolfo-Mensah, who's the GM of the Vikings.
Wait. What language you speaking? You cussing at me?
Hey,
what was that?
That's his name, man.
That's pretty good. Damn. I love it.
Look,
okay.
He has started an outstanding offseason, preceded by an outstanding year where the
year
team
after
has
year,
been
bro.
better.
Yep.
He has made great moves consistently. He's doing free agency the right way. Not all the moves are perfect, but they all make sense. I'm putting this out there. I'm giving you my game ball, man. So what you're going to do for me is leave Aaron Rodgers alone.
Got a quarterback. Yep.
Other than that, I also have to put it out there because I also talked about when LeBron broke his record. Steph Curry is the first player ever to to get 4,000 3-point shots as of today, or was it yesterday? I think it was today. And deserves recognition. I mean, nobody has made 3-pointers at the same clip that he has, as consistently as he's the best shooter by far in NBA history, and that's a major accomplishment. So more power to him.
Real talk. That dude shoot threes like free throws. Yeah. Okay.
Yeah, no problem.
All right.
Hogwash, man. What y'all got?
GB, you want to go? Or I can start it off. It's up to you.
Oh man. Man, damn near everything, bro. Just the world right now. Y'all go for it.
Okay. All right, B, go ahead. You start the hogwash because I got a double hogwash. You go ahead.
Okay. Well, I'm gonna tell you what I said before. So last week, I was kind of taking it back a little bit on the whole Luka thing because the Lakers were doing all right. I didn't go all the way back to say I like Luka because I don't. But then I got to see what his stats were since he's been a Laker, and that is he's averaging 15 points a game, and this is right before his 2-game 40 blitz. Now that everybody else is out and hurt, but he's averaging 15 points a game. He was only shooting 41% from the field, 26% from the 3-point line since he became a Laker. And people want to still talk about how this guy's good. And they wanted to say, well, he's been winning since he got here. Except for everyone forgot that they had a 5-game winning streak before he got here, when AD was also hurt and LeBron was playing with Austin Reeves. Well, guess what? Austin Reeves got hurt. They started to struggle a little bit. Then LeBron now is hurt, and now they can't win an iota anything. Sure, he's got great stat lines, but the thing to remember about Luka is his teams can't win. And here we are with him being the centerpiece, and this is our future, folks. It's Luka sitting here jacking up shots, not shooting for percentage, not making his teammates better. I don't care what his stat line is. You do not win with Luka, a ball hog point guard is your leader, and Luka's one of them. That goes for Ja Morant. That goes for Trey. I've been saying it for years. He's another example of that, and this is what's going to happen. By the way, we got smoke tonight.
Yeah, I saw that. Yep,
My dub, yeah.
Last. Oh, you had one. My bad. You had a double hog.
Yeah, I got a double hogwash. So my first hogwash goes out to NIL. This should be called something else. Just call it paying players, because the name, image, likeness is hogwash, because I ain't seen 2 players with NIL deals in a damn commercial. So they need to call it something else, not NIL. Just saying I'm paying for a player. But my real hogwash goes out to the Cincinnati Bengals. When Joe Burrow got drafted there, from day one, I always said, I don't question Joe Burrow's ability. I question the franchise he went to. And the Bengals just proved again how dumb they are as a franchise. Their cheap owner didn't want to pay any defensive players a couple of years ago, and they ended up having one of the worst defenses in NFL history last year. Their best defensive player, Trey Hendrickson, they don't want to re-sign him. He doesn't really want to re-sign him, and told him to go look for a deal as well. But here's the reason why they made this hogwash segment, is because they just franchise tagged T. Higgins for the 2nd year in a row. Last year, they paid him $22 million. This year, they're paying $26 million. So instead of re-signing him to a long-term deal for less money annually and a lower cap hit, they're paying him 2 years, $48 million. If you ever want, there's many reasons to tell that a team doesn't know what they're doing. But one obvious reason is you get a franchise tag a player for 2 straight years. That's a huge indicator. That's a dumb franchise. So they definitely make my hogwash.
Well said, man.
Minute to win it.
Thing. Yeah, who y'all got, man? Last segment.
Minute to win it. You want to Brian close this out. So
yeah, you know mine, man. I don't have anything specific. I'm still in court, man. So I'm just shout out to everybody who listens. We appreciate every one of you, and thank you, Brian and Coop, man, for doing this every week and every 2 weeks and in a few weeks. So appreciate y'all.
No doubt. My minute to win it. I'm just going to answer 2 questions that people have had for me about college quarterbacks. Number one, they asked me, who do you think is a sleeper quarterback? And my answer to that is Kyle McCord. He played at Ohio State, but he was pretty much blamed by the coach, Ryan Day, that when they lost to Michigan that year. So he transferred to Syracuse. I know Ohio State won the national championship with Will Howard, but Will Howard is not an NFL quarterback at all, and he's not better than Kyle McCord. So if you want a sleeper quarterback, it's Kyle McCord. And then someone else asked me, and second one was about, and last one was about Jalen Milroe at Alabama. They asked me, what's the difference between him and Anthony Richardson? And I said, the difference between those 2 quarterbacks is sample size. Richardson only started 13 games in college. And there's always a sucker in the NFL that looks at the athleticism and thinks they can make him into an NFL quarterback. There's always somebody like that. Milroe is actually better than Anthony Richardson right now, but his sample size is larger. So he's not going to get drafted in the first round because his game is being more scrutinized because he's played more games. But he can run over people and he can run by people, just like Anthony Richardson. But he has a good deep ball, and Anthony Richardson doesn't have a good anything throwing the ball. He's just terrible. So Jalen Milroe is a better quarterback than Anthony Richardson. I expect him to get drafted. He's actually better, but that's the difference, sample size. Anthony Richardson played less games, and people were hyped about him. So that's it. That's my minute to win it.
Pete?
Y'all know what I'm going to tell you. It's the same. You can see it every day on the damn news. The stock market is crumbling. Our 401ks are down, in some cases in tens, if not hundreds of thousands of dollars. The government almost got shut down until a gutless Democrat named Schumer, who's the minority leader, decided to decide with the GOP. And Johns Hopkins just is going to have to lay off 2,000 people at what was considered one of the most prestigious hospitals in the world. Correct. Due to the USAID cuts in funding. We are basically hosed. We've got measles outbreaks, but we're not allowed to talk about them because we're no longer part of the WHO, and we've told the CDC they're not allowed to talk about it. We've got bird flu outbreaks. Someone who is a supporter or whatever needs to tell me when we get great again, because right now we are at the bottom of the garbage can that has not been cleaned in a really long time, and it is all due to two people, and it's not just one, two people. That's President Musk and his Vice President Trump. It's bad, folks, and it's only about to get a hell of a lot worse. So buckle up, save your pennies, and hug your family, and maybe save retirement until next year.
Hide your kids, hide your wife. Messing with B. Damn. All right, man. Sports Counterpoints, man. We'll catch y'all next time. It's March 13th, 2025.
That's hella funny.